If you have ever been laughed at in your own family house, you will understand this pain. One minute, everyone was smiling and clapping for my sister, and the next minute, the whole living room went quiet like someone switched off the air. My mother had just sighed and said, "Maybe if you were more like your sister," while she praised my sister's new job as a junior attorney. Everyone cheered for her like she had won the whole world. I forced a small smile, even though my chest felt tight. Then the TV changed and a bright banner flashed across the screen. Forbes Billionaires list. People were still laughing when the presenter said, "And a surprise new name has entered the list this year." The camera zoomed in. The letters became clear. My name appeared, my full name, correct spelling, my face from an old photo I hated. The room froze mid-laugh. My aunt's mouth stayed open. My uncle's drink stopped halfway to his lips. My mother's smile fell like a plate that slipped from a hand. My sister's eyes widened. Nobody breathed. Then my mother whispered, barely loud enough to hear, "What is this?" And before I could answer, my sister slowly stood up and pointed at me with a shaking finger and said, "You lied to us." The words hit the room like thunder. I opened my mouth to speak, but my grandmother gripped my wrist under the blanket, hard, as if she was warning me. Her old eyes met mine, and she mouthed two words I never expected from her. "Not here." The TV presenter kept talking, the list kept scrolling, my name stayed on the screen, and my family stared at me like I had suddenly turned into a stranger. Then my phone buzzed in my pocket once, twice, 3 times. I looked down and saw the message preview. It was from someone saved in my contacts as, "The man we don't name." The message said, "They saw it. Do not tell them the truth. Not yet." I felt my blood turn cold, because I knew exactly what would happen if I disobeyed. Now let me take you back to the beginning, before the TV betrayed me, before my sister called me a liar, before my mother's pride turned into fear, and before my grandmother squeezed my wrist like she was trying to keep my future from falling apart. My name is Naomi Carter. I am not a child, but in my family I was always treated like the slow one. Not slow in my head, but slow in life, slow in success, slow in achievement. My family loved trophies, titles, and big announcements. They loved things people could clap for. My sister's name is Vanessa Carter. Vanessa was the kind of person teachers loved. The kind of girl who finished her homework early and reminded the teacher to collect it. The kind of girl who won debate competitions and smiled for photos like she was born ready. When she spoke, people listened. When she walked into a room, people noticed. Even my mother noticed more. My mother, Lydia Carter, was not a wicked woman. She worked hard and did her best, but she had one big weakness. She cared too much about what people said. My father died when I was 14. After that, my mother carried us like heavy bags, and I respected her for it. But as the years passed, she began to measure love with public success. If people could praise you, she could love you loudly. If people could not see what you were doing, she loved you quietly or not at all. And then there was my grandmother. Her name was Evelyn Carter. Everybody called her Grandma Eve. Grandma Eve was old, but her eyes were sharp. She didn't talk too much, but when she did, her words stuck in your mind like glue. She lived with us after my father died because my mother said she could not leave her alone. But I sometimes felt Grandma Eve was the one watching over all of us, not the other way around. Grandma Eve had a habit that scared me when I was younger. When something was wrong, she would go quiet and start peeling oranges slowly, like the peeling was more important than the problem. That was how you knew something serious was coming. The year this story began, I was 26. Vanessa was 28. She was finishing law school and doing internships and speaking big grammar that made everybody nod even when they didn't understand. My mother would say, "Vanessa will be a great attorney. God has blessed her." And what about me? I had no fancy job title. I didn't wear suits. I didn't post big achievements online. I was the kind of person who left the house early and came back late, and when anyone asked what I did, I would say, "Work." That was all. Work. In my family, that word meant nothing. It started with small comments, small stings. At breakfast, my mother would say, "Vanessa has an interview today. Naomi, make sure you don't disturb her." At dinner, my aunt would say, "Vanessa will soon be in court, winning cases. Naomi, you should learn something." At family gatherings, My cousins would ask Vanessa for advice and ask me for snacks. Sometimes I wanted to shout, "Do you think I don't matter?" But I didn't. I learned something early in life. If you talk too much in a house that has already decided who is important, they call you disrespectful. So I stayed quiet and swallowed my pain like bitter medicine. But Grandma Eve noticed. She always noticed. One evening, she called me into her room. Her room always smelled like menthol and old books. She sat on her bed with a small bowl of oranges beside her. She was peeling one slowly, her fingers moving like she had all the time in the world. "Come and sit," she said. I sat on the chair near her bed. She did not ask me how my day was. She did not ask me why I looked tired. She looked at my hands. "You are working hard," she said. My throat tightened. I wanted to ask her how she knew, but I couldn't speak. She peeled the orange, removed a seed, and then looked up. "Do not let people's mouth become your mirror," she said. I frowned. "What do you mean, Grandma?" She placed the orange in my palm. "If you let people's mouth tell you who you are, you will forget your own face," she said. I stared at the orange. Grandma Eve continued, "Your mother loves you, but she has noise in her head, the noise of people's opinions. You must not let that noise enter your own head, too." I forced a small smile. "It's okay, Grandma, I'm used to it." Her eyes narrowed. "Do not say that. Being used to pain does not mean pain is good." I looked away. She leaned closer. "Naomi, listen to me. Some people shine in public, some people shine in secret, but both are light. Do you understand?" I nodded, but I did not fully understand. Because I was tired of being the secret one. I wanted, just once, for my mother to look at me with pride the way she looked at Vanessa. I wanted, just once, for my family to clap for me without forcing my hands to clap too. A few weeks later, Vanessa got the big news. She got a job offer. Junior attorney at a respected firm in the city. When she came home with the letter, she screamed so loud that even the neighbors heard. My mother screamed too. They hugged and danced in the living room. My aunties came over, my uncles came over, my cousins came over, somebody bought cake, somebody brought drinks. The house smelled like celebration. My mother called it Vanessa's night. They put balloons on the wall. They turned on the TV for background music. People laughed and talked about how our Vanessa had made the family proud. Meanwhile, I washed dishes. I moved quietly between the kitchen and the living room, carrying plates, taking empty cups, wiping spills. People barely noticed me. When they did, they said, "Naomi, you're so helpful. God will bless you." In my head, I thought, bless me with what? With more plates. Then my mother called me. "Naomi, come and greet your uncle," she said, waving me over like I was a waiter. I walked into the living room with a polite smile. My uncle, Uncle Raymond, was sitting like a king on our couch, laughing loudly. He was the kind of man who liked giving advice even when nobody asked. He held my hand and squeezed it. "Naomi, how are you? Still doing that your small work?" People chuckled. My cheeks burned. "Yes, uncle." He laughed. "You see your sister, this is what hard work looks like. This is what focus looks like. Vanessa has sense. She knows what she wants." Vanessa sat beside him, smiling like she enjoyed the praise. I tried not to look at her. I tried not to hate her for it because she did work hard. It wasn't her fault that people treated me like air. Still, the pain was real. Then my mother did the thing she always did. She sighed. That heavy, disappointed sigh that always made me feel like I had failed a test I didn't even know I was taking. "Maybe if you were more like your sister," Mom sighed, her eyes on Vanessa like Vanessa was the sun. "Look at her, junior attorney. See how life is when you plan well." Everybody cheered again. Vanessa, our lawyer, pride of the family. They lifted their cups, they clapped, they shouted. And I stood there holding a tray of cups, feeling smaller than I had ever felt. Grandma Eve sat in her usual chair near the corner. She didn't clap. She didn't smile. She just watched. Her eyes moved from my mother to Vanessa, then to me. She saw the way I swallowed hard. She saw the way my fingers tightened on the tray. She saw the way my smile looked like a crack in a wall. I looked away quickly because I didn't want her to see tears in my eyes. Tears would make people call me weak. Tears would make my mother annoyed. Tears would make Vanessa look like the better daughter even more. So I went back to the kitchen. I stood by the sink and breathed slowly. Then I heard footsteps behind me. I turned. It was Vanessa. She leaned on the kitchen doorway, holding a cup of juice. She looked at me with a half smile, not cruel, not kind, just proud. "You could at least look happy for me," she said. I stared at her. "I am happy for you." She sipped her juice. "Doesn't look like it." I kept my voice calm. "It's just a lot of noise out there." She rolled her eyes. "Naomi, this is what success looks like. People celebrate you." I wanted to say, not everyone, not me. But I didn't. Instead, I asked, "So when do you start the job?" 2 weeks, she said, grinning. "And Mom is already talking about buying me a car. Can you imagine a car?" My stomach twisted. My mother had never talked about buying me anything except more discipline. Vanessa stepped closer. "You know what, Naomi? I don't want to be mean, but Mom is right. You should be more like me. You're always secretive, always disappearing. No clear plans, no clear future. You're my sister, and sometimes you embarrass me." Those words were not a slap. They were worse. Because she said them softly, like truth. I felt heat rise to my face. "Embarrass you," I repeated. She shrugged. "People ask what you do, and I don't even know what to tell them. You just say work. Work where? Doing what?" I stayed silent. She sighed, copying our mother. "It's okay. Maybe one day you'll figure it out." Then she walked out of the kitchen, leaving me standing there with my hands trembling. I leaned on the sink and stared at the wall. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. But I didn't. I just whispered to myself, "You don't know me." Because she didn't. Nobody did. Not even my mother. Not even Vanessa. Only Grandma Eve knew there was a locked door inside my life that I did not let anybody open. Because behind that door was a truth that could change everything. A truth I was not ready to share. That night, after the guests left and the balloons started dropping like tired faces, I went outside to breathe. The air was cool, the street was quiet. I sat on the small step near the front door. My phone buzzed. I looked at the screen and saw a message from an unknown number. It said, "Tomorrow, 7 a.m. same place, no mistakes." My heart beat faster. I quickly locked my phone and looked around, even though nobody was there. Then another message came. "Remember what happens if your family finds out." My mouth went dry. Because I remembered. I remembered the last time someone tried to dig into my secret. I remembered the threat. I remembered the promise I made to keep my mouth shut. Behind me, the door opened softly. I turned and saw Grandma Eve. She walked slowly and sat beside me. For a while, she said nothing. Then she asked, "Are you afraid?" I tried to laugh. "Afraid of what, Grandma?" She looked at my face. "Do not insult my eyes, Naomi." I swallowed. Grandma Eve reached out and placed her hand on mine. Her hand was warm and rough, like a hand that had worked hard in life. "Sometimes," she said gently, "the thing we hide is not shame. Sometimes it is protection." My heart pounded. Did she know? I forced a calm voice. "Grandma, what are you talking about?" She stared ahead into the dark street. "Your mother is proud of Vanessa," she said. "That is normal, but pride can become poison if it makes you blind." I said nothing. Grandma Eve continued, "You are not useless. You are not less. You are just quiet." I felt tears prick my eyes. She squeezed my hand. "One day, the truth will enter this house like thunder, and when it comes, you must stand strong." My throat tightened. "Will it be soon?" I asked without thinking. Grandma Eve turned to look at me. Her eyes were serious. "Soon enough," she said. Then she stood up slowly. Before she went inside, she leaned down and whispered, "Do not trust applause. Today they clap, tomorrow they question." And she was right. Because tomorrow was the day everything started to change. The next morning, I woke up early. The house was quiet. Everyone was sleeping. I dressed in plain clothes and left the house without making noise. I walked 2 streets away to a small parking lot behind an old shopping center. It was always empty that early. A black car was already waiting. The windows were dark. I stood there, staring at it, my stomach tight. The back door opened. A man stepped out. He was tall, wearing a cap low over his face. I couldn't fully see his eyes, but I knew him. I hated that I knew him. He nodded at me. "You're late." I checked my watch. "I'm not late." He stepped closer. "Do not argue with me, Naomi. Get in. We have work." My hands turned cold. "What work?" I asked, even though I already knew. He leaned close enough for me to smell his cologne. "The work that made your name powerful," he said. "The work you pretend doesn't exist." My heart hammered. "I told you," I whispered. "I want out." He laughed, low and dangerous. "Out? You think you can leave a machine after you helped build it?" I backed away. "I didn't help build anything. You used me." His smile disappeared. He grabbed my wrist suddenly, tight enough to hurt. "Listen to me," he said, voice sharp. "You will do what I say when I say it, or I will walk into your mother's house and tell them everything. And when they hear it, they won't clap for you. They will hate you." I pulled my wrist free, breathing hard. "Why are you doing this?" I asked. He stared at me, then pointed at the black car. "Get in." I didn't move. His eyes narrowed. "Naomi, do you think your sister will still smile at you if she learns how you got your money? Do you think your mother will still call you her daughter if she learns what you signed?" My stomach turned. He stepped back and opened the door wider. "Get in," he repeated. I stood frozen. Then my phone buzzed in my pocket again. I looked down. This time, it was a news alert. My eyes scanned the headline and my breath caught. "Forbes to announce new billionaire entrance tonight." My hands started shaking. Because I knew. I knew what that meant. I looked up at the man. His mouth curved into a smile that made my skin crawl. "You see," he said softly, "it has started." And in that moment, I understood that tonight, at Vanessa's celebration, when my family would be laughing and clapping, my name might appear on the screen for the whole world to see. Not because I wanted it, but because someone wanted to use it. I turned and ran. I didn't know where I was running to. I only knew I had to stop whatever was coming. Because if my family found out the truth the wrong way, it would destroy everything. And as I ran down the street, my phone buzzed again with one final message from the unknown number. "Try to stop it, and your grandmother will pay first." My legs nearly gave way. My vision blurred. I stopped running and stared at the screen, my heart crashing inside my chest, because Grandma Eve was the only person in that house who had ever truly seen me. And now someone was threatening her. I spun around, searching the street, and that was when I noticed the black car was no longer behind me. It was now slowly rolling toward my house. The black car moving toward my house felt like a nightmare walking on wheels. I stood there, frozen, my phone shaking in my hand. Grandma Eve's face filled my mind, her quiet strength, her warm hands, her warning. "Do not trust applause. Today they clap, tomorrow they question." I turned and ran. I didn't care who saw me. I didn't care how I looked. I just ran toward the house, my heart pounding so loud I thought it would burst out of my chest. Every step felt heavy, like the ground was trying to hold me back. When I reached the front gate, the car was already parked a short distance away. The engine was still running. I slipped into the house quietly, locking the door behind me. My hands were shaking so badly that I dropped my keys. Inside, the house was calm, too calm. Everyone was still asleep. I leaned against the door and closed my eyes for a second, trying to breathe. In, out, in, out. Think Naomi, I whispered to myself. Think. I went straight to Grandma Eve's room. Her door was slightly open. I pushed it gently. She was awake, sitting up in bed, peeling an orange. I stopped walking. My heart sank. She looked up at me, her eyes calm, like she had been expecting me. You ran, she said. I rushed to her side. Grandma, we need to talk, right now. She placed the orange peel neatly on a small plate. You are afraid, she said again. I knelt beside her bed and grabbed her hand. Someone is threatening you. Her eyebrows lifted just a little. I know. My breath caught. You know. She nodded slowly. That man came here last week, when you were not home. My blood turned cold. He came here. Yes, she said. He sat in that chair and spoke like he owned the air in the room. My hands tightened around hers. What did he say to you? She looked at me closely. He asked me if I knew who you really were. I felt dizzy. What did you tell him? I told him, she said calmly, that I raised you better than he thought. Tears filled my eyes. Grandma, I'm so sorry. I never wanted you to be involved. She squeezed my hand. Child, some storms do not ask permission before they enter your house. I swallowed hard. He said if I try to stop what's coming, you'll pay first. Grandma Eve sighed, not the tired sigh my mother used, but a deep, thoughtful one. Sit, she said. I sat on the edge of her bed, my whole body tense. Naomi, she said gently, tell me the whole truth, not the short one, not the careful one, the whole truth. I opened my mouth. Then I closed it. My chest hurt. I had carried this secret for so long that speaking it felt like tearing open my own skin. Grandma, I whispered, what if you hate me? She looked almost offended. I am too old to start hatting my own blood. That broke me. Tears rolled down my face. I didn't plan it, I said quickly. I swear I didn't. It started small. I just wanted to help people. I just wanted to earn something quietly. I didn't want applause. I didn't want praise. She listened. She always listened. I met him 3 years ago, I continued. He said he had a system, a way to grow money fast using technology and connections. At first, it worked. Too well. People trusted me because I was quiet and honest. I became the face without wanting to be the face. Her eyes never left mine. I signed papers I didn't fully understand, I said. I thought it was just business. Then it became bigger, dangerous. I tried to leave, but he said I couldn't. He said my name was already attached. I wiped my tears. Grandma, I don't even touch most of the money. I don't live like I'm rich. I want it out. She was quiet for a long time. Then she said, money is not evil, fear is. I sniffed. What do I do? She leaned closer. You must stop hiding. My heart jumped. If I stop hiding, he will destroy us. She shook her head. If you keep hiding, he already has. Before I could answer, we heard movement in the house. Footsteps. Voices. The family was waking up. Grandma Eve patted my hand. Go, she said. Act normal. Grandma. Go, she repeated softly. And remember, truth is heavy, but lies sink faster. I stood up slowly and left her room. In the kitchen, my mother was already there, humming as she made tea. She looked happy, proud, still glowing from last night. Good morning, she said. You're up early. Yes, Mom, I replied. She smiled. Vanessa has an interview follow-up today. I'm so proud of her. I nodded and reached for a cup. Vanessa walked in a moment later, dressed neatly, confidence wrapped around her like a coat. Morning, she said. She glanced at me and paused. Why do you look like that? Like what? I asked. Like you didn't sleep. I didn't, I said honestly. She smirked, worrying about your mysterious job again. Before I could answer, Uncle Raymond's voice came from the living room. They're replaying it tonight, he said loudly. The Forbes list, they're doing a special segment. My hand froze around the cup. My mother clapped. Ah, Vanessa, you hear? Big people, big names. Vanessa laughed. One day, Mom, one day. I felt sick. Breakfast passed slowly, too slowly. Every sound felt louder. Every smile felt fake. By evening, the house was full again. Relatives returned. Neighbors came. Vanessa's celebration continued like nothing bad could ever happen in our house. The TV was on. Everyone was laughing. And my phone wouldn't stop vibrating. Unknown number. Unknown number. Unknown number. I didn't answer. I sat close to Grandma Eve. She held my hand under the blanket. Then my mother spoke again. Her voice cut through the noise. Maybe if you were more like your sister, she sighed, smiling proudly at Vanessa. Look at her, junior attorney, clear future. Everyone cheered. My heart sank. And then the TV changed. The music stopped. A bright banner flashed across the screen. Forbes, Billionaires list. The room quieted a little. The presenter smiled. And tonight, he said, we have a surprise new name. My stomach dropped. The screen changed. My name appeared. Clear, bold. Naomi Carter. The room froze. Mid-laugh. Mid-clap. Mid-breath. And my phone buzzed again in my pocket. I didn't need to look. I already knew. Because this time, the truth had entered the house like thunder. And I was no longer sure who would survive it. Nobody spoke. It felt like the whole house had forgotten how to breathe. The TV kept talking, the presenter smiling, numbers moving on the screen, but all eyes were on me. My name stayed there, glowing like it had a voice of its own. Naomi Carter. My mother's smile slowly faded. Her hands dropped from the air. The cup she was holding slipped and hit the floor, spilling tea everywhere, but nobody moved to clean it. My sister stood up slowly. She looked at the screen, then at me, then back at the screen. She laughed once, a short, sharp laugh that didn't sound happy. This is not funny, Vanessa said. Nobody laughed with her. My uncle leaned closer to the TV. Is that our Naomi? My aunt whispered, it must be another Naomi Carter. The presenter spoke again. A private investor who has kept a very low profile. Low profile. Those words felt like knives. My mother turned slowly toward me. Her voice was small. Naomi, what is this? I opened my mouth. No sound came out. Vanessa's face hardened. Answer her, she said. Say something. My heart was beating so fast I felt dizzy. Before I could speak, Vanessa pointed at me, her finger shaking. You lied to us, she said loudly. All this time you lied. That's not, I started. Stop, she snapped. Stop pretending. You let us treat you like nothing while you were hiding this. People began talking at once. Why didn't she tell us? How long has this been going on? So she was rich this whole time. My mother's eyes filled with tears. Naomi, I begged God for you, she said. I prayed for your future, and you were sitting on this. I felt something break inside me. I didn't want this, I said softly. Vanessa laughed again, bitter this time. You didn't want to be a billionaire. That's not what this is, I said. Then explain it, she said. Explain why your name is on Forbes and mine is not. That hurt more than I expected. Before I could answer, Grandma Eve stood up. The room went quiet again. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't shout. She just said one sentence. Sit down, Vanessa. Everyone stared at her. Vanessa looked shocked. Grandma. I said sit, Grandma Eve repeated. Vanessa slowly sat down. Grandma Eve turned to my mother. Lydia, you raised 2 daughters. One shines loudly, one shines quietly. You chose which one to look at. My mother trembled. Mama, this is not about that. It is, Grandma Eve said calmly. It has always been. She turned to the room. Before you throw stones, ask yourselves why you never asked Naomi who she really was. Silence. I felt tears roll down my cheeks. My mother looked confused, hurt, angry. Naomi, she said, go to your room. I nodded. As I turned away, my phone vibrated again. I didn't check it. I already knew who it was. I locked my door and leaned against it, sliding down until I sat on the floor. My hands were shaking. I finally looked at my phone. A message popped up. You disobeyed me. Another message followed. You let it air. Then the third. You have 1 hour. My chest tightened. 1 hour for what? My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered with shaking hands. What do you want? I whispered. His voice was calm, too calm. You were told not to speak. I didn't, I said. I haven't said anything. You let the list air, he replied. Now everyone knows. They only know my name, I said, not the details. He laughed softly. Details are coming. Fear crawled up my spine. Leave my family alone. That depends on you, he said. Come to the office, alone. I can't, I whispered. They're watching me. Then choose, he said. Your truth or your grandmother. The line went dead. I dropped the phone. My door handle rattled. Naomi, my mother called. Open this door. I wiped my face quickly and stood up. I opened the door. My mother stood there, her eyes red. We are talking, she said. I nodded and followed her into the living room. Everyone sat quietly now. No laughter. No music. The TV was off. Vanessa sat with her arms crossed, her face tight. My mother sat across from me. Start talking, she said. No secrets. I looked at Grandma Eve. She nodded slightly. I took a deep breath. I am not proud of how this started, I said, and I am not free yet. Vanessa scoffed. What does that mean? It means, I said slowly, that my name being on that list does not mean I control my life. They stared at me. I got involved with people who use smart systems and money movement, I continued. At first, I thought it was clean. Then it was. My mother covered her mouth. Are you saying you did something illegal? I am saying, I replied carefully, that I am trying to fix a mistake. Vanessa stood up. So you're a criminal now? No, Grandma Eve snapped. Sit down. Vanessa froze. My mother looked at Grandma Eve. Mama, do you know about this? I know enough, Grandma Eve said. My mother turned back to me. Why didn't you come to me? I swallowed, because every time I walked into this room, I felt like a failure. Her face fell. Before she could answer, the doorbell rang. Everyone jumped. The sound echoed through the house. Ding, dong. I froze. My phone buzzed again. A final message. I told you 1 hour. I am here. The doorbell rang again, louder this time. Ding, dong. My mother stood up slowly. Who could that be? Grandma Eve's hand tightened around mine. Vanessa whispered, Naomi, what did you do? The doorbell rang a third time. Then a knock. Hard. Heavy. Like a warning. And through the glass of the front door, I saw the shadow of a man standing very still, waiting to be let in. Nobody moved. The knocking came again, louder, slower, more serious. Boom, boom, boom. It sounded like someone knocking on a coffin. My mother took one step toward the door. Mom, don't, I said quickly. She turned to me, anger flashing in her eyes. Naomi, this is my house. Grandma Eve stood up beside me. Lydia, wait. My mother hesitated. Her hand stayed in the air. The knock came again. This is not a stranger, Grandma Eve said quietly. This is trouble. Vanessa stood up. Naomi, is this about what you just told us? I swallowed hard. Yes. Fear spread across her face. You brought danger into this house. I tried to keep it away, I said. That's why I stayed quiet. The knocking stopped. For a second, the silence was worse. Then a voice came from outside. Calm, deep, confident. Naomi Carter, the man said. I know you're inside. My mother gasped. Vanessa covered her mouth. My heart felt like it was tearing in two. Grandma Eve stepped forward. Do not answer, she said. But my mother had already reached the door. She unlocked it. The door opened slowly. The man stood there wearing a dark suit, neat shoes, and a small smile that did not reach his eyes. Two other men stood a few steps behind him. He looked past my mother and straight at me. Good evening, he said politely. I apologize for the late visit. My mother straightened. Who are you? He smiled wider. A business partner of your daughter. Vanessa spun toward me. Business partner. The man stepped inside, without being invited. I believe introductions are in order, he said. My name is Marcus Hale. My stomach dropped. That was the name. The name I never said out loud. The man I saved in my phone, as the man we don't name. He looked around the room slowly, like he was counting the furniture. Lovely home, he said, very humble. My mother crossed her arms. You should leave. Marcus chuckled. Soon, I just need a word with Naomi. No, my mother said firmly. Whatever you have to say, you can say it here. Marcus tilted his head. I don't think that's wise. Grandma Eve stepped forward. You are not welcome here. Marcus looked at her for the first time. His smile faded slightly. So you must be the grandmother, he said. Strong eyes, sharp mind. She didn't reply. He turned back to me. Naomi, you broke an agreement. I didn't, I said. I kept quiet. You let the list air, he replied calmly. That was your responsibility. My mother looked between us. What agreement? Marcus answered before I could. Your daughter agreed to be the public face of an investment network. Vanessa shouted, What? Marcus continued. Her name brings trust. People follow names, not systems. My mother staggered back into a chair. You used my daughter, she whispered. Marcus smiled. She benefited as well. I clenched my fists. You said I could leave. I said we would talk, he corrected. Not that you could leave. Grandma Eve raised her voice. You threaten people in their own homes. Marcus turned to her slowly. I protect my interests. Vanessa yelled. You threatened her. Marcus didn't deny it. That was when my mother stood up fully. Her voice shook, but it was strong. Get out, she said. Now. Marcus looked almost disappointed. I hoped you would understand, he said, but emotions make people blind. He reached into his jacket. My heart stopped. Vanessa screamed. But he didn't pull out a weapon. He pulled out a folder. He placed it on the table. Inside this folder, he said calmly, are documents signed by Naomi, contracts, numbers, transfers. My mother stared at it like it was poison. If Naomi walks away, Marcus continued, those documents go public. I felt dizzy. You said you wouldn't. I said many things, he replied. Grandma Eve stepped closer to him. You are a wicked man. Marcus met her gaze. I am a careful man. Then he turned back to me. You have two choices, he said. Come back under control or watch your family fall. Vanessa shook her head. Naomi, tell him no. My mother whispered, Naomi, what have you done? Tears streamed down my face. I looked at Grandma Eve. She nodded once. Not in fear. In strength. I took a deep breath. I will not be controlled anymore, I said. Marcus's eyes hardened. That is your final answer. Yes, I said. He smiled slowly. So be it. He turned toward the door. As he stepped out, he paused. One more thing, he said, without looking back. Tomorrow morning, the police will receive an anonymous tip. My mother screamed. Vanessa ran to me. Marcus stepped outside. The door closed. Silence filled the room. Then Grandma Eve grabbed her chest. "Grandma," I shouted. She swayed. Her knees buckled, and she collapsed to the floor. "Grandma." Everything happened at once. Vanessa screamed. My mother dropped to her knees. I ran forward and caught Grandma Eve before her head hit the floor. Her body felt light, too light, and her breathing was shallow, uneven. "Call an ambulance," I shouted. My hands were shaking as I held her. Her eyes were open, but they looked far away, like she was seeing something none of us could see. "Grandma, please," I whispered. "Stay with me." My mother fumbled with her phone, her fingers slippery with panic. It's ringing," she cried. Vanessa knelt beside us, her face pale. "This is your fault," she said suddenly, her voice breaking. "All of this." I didn't argue. Maybe it was. Grandma Eve's hand moved weakly. She grabbed my sleeve. I leaned closer. "I'm here." Her lips moved. I had to bring my ear close to her mouth to hear her. "Do not give him what he wants," she whispered. Tears fell onto her face. "I won't," I said. "I promise." The siren came faster than I expected. Red and blue lights flashed through the windows, painting the walls in strange colors. Paramedics rushed in, asking questions, checking her pulse, lifting her gently onto a stretcher. My mother stood frozen, watching them take her away. "I'm coming," she said suddenly, grabbing her bag. "I'll come too," Vanessa said. I stood there, unable to move. One of the paramedics looked at me. "Are you coming?" I shook my head. "I'll follow." The door closed behind them. The house felt empty, like something important had been taken out of it. Vanessa turned to me, her eyes burning. "If anything happens to her." "I know," I said quietly. "I know." She stormed out. I was alone. For the first time in my life, the silence did not feel peaceful. It felt dangerous. My phone buzzed. I stared at it for a long moment before picking it up. Unknown number. A message appeared. "You chose pride over safety." Another message followed. "She is weak because of you." My hands clenched so hard my nails dug into my skin. "Leave her alone," I typed back. "I'll do whatever you want." The reply came instantly. "Too late." I dropped the phone. "No," I whispered. "No, no, no." I grabbed my keys and rushed out of the house, driving fast, barely seeing the road. My thoughts raced. Police, documents, anonymous tips, lies mixed with half-truths. Marcus was not bluffing. At the hospital, I found my mother and Vanessa sitting in the waiting area. My mother's face looked older, like years had passed in one night. The doctor came out, after what felt like forever. "She had a mild stroke," he said. "She's stable, but the next 24 hours are very important." My mother covered her face and cried. Vanessa sank into a chair. I felt sick. This was my fault. Hours later, when they finally allowed us to see her, Grandma Eve was awake. Tubes surrounded her, machines beeping softly. She smiled weakly when she saw me. "You came back," she said. "I never left," I replied, holding her hand. Her grip was weak, but firm enough. "Listen," she said. "Marcus thinks money is power. He is wrong." I leaned closer. "Truth," she whispered, "is power." I nodded, tears falling. "I'm scared." She squeezed my hand once. "So was I when I chose to speak many years ago." I froze. "What do you mean?" Before she could answer, a nurse stepped in. "Visiting time is over," she said gently. They made us leave. That night, I couldn't sleep. Around 3 a.m., my phone rang. This time, it was Marcus. It was a blocked number. I answered slowly. "Hello." A woman's voice spoke. Calm, serious. "This is Inspector Helen Brooks," she said. "We need to talk about Marcus Hale." My heart stopped. "How do you know that name?" I asked. We've been watching him for years, she replied, and your name just moved to the top of our list. My mouth went dry. She continued, you're not our target, Naomi. You're our opportunity. I sat up straight. What do you want from me? There was a short pause. Then she said, we want you to help us bring him down. I looked at the dark room around me. I thought of my mother's tears, Vanessa's anger, Grandma Eve's weak smile, and Marcus's promise. I'm listening, I said. At that exact moment, another message flashed on my phone. From Marcus. You have until sunrise. I stared at both screens. One promising justice, the other promising destruction. And I knew that whatever choice I made next would decide who lived free and who paid the price. I did not sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Grandma Eve falling. I heard Marcus's calm voice. I saw my name shining on the TV screen like a warning. Sunrise was coming, and with it, a choice that could destroy or save us. I sat on the edge of my bed, my phone in my hand. Inspector Helen Brooks had sent a message with a secure number and one sentence. We can protect your family, but only if you tell us everything. My heart beat fast. Protection. That was what Marcus had taken away from me. Fear was his weapon. I stood up and walked to the window. The sky was slowly turning light blue. Birds were beginning to sing, like nothing bad existed in the world. I whispered, Grandma, help me choose. My phone buzzed again. Marcus, you are running out of time. I typed with shaking fingers. If I come back, will you leave my family alone? His reply came slowly this time. Once you are useful again. My stomach turned. I knew then that there was no safe deal with him. Even if I obeyed, he would always come back. He would always want more. I dialed Inspector Brooks's number. She answered immediately. You decided, she said. Yes, I replied, but I'm scared. That's normal, she said. Brave people are scared people who act anyway. Her voice was calm, steady. I will tell you everything, I said, but you must promise me one thing. What is it? Protect my grandmother. She is weak. She did not hesitate. We already have officers at the hospital. My knees nearly gave way. Thank you, I whispered. She continued. We need proof, documents, messages, transfers, and we need him to believe you are still under his control. My heart skipped. You want me to pretend? Yes, she said, for a short time. I swallowed hard. He said I have until sunrise. Good, she replied. Tell him you're ready to come back. My hands trembled as I typed the message to Marcus. I'll do what you want. Tell me where to meet. 3 dots appeared almost immediately. Then his reply. Smart choice. Come alone, downtown office, 1 hour. Inspector Brooks spoke again. Go, we will be watching. I dressed simply. No jewelry, no makeup. I looked like the quiet Naomi they never noticed. Before leaving, I went to the hospital. I stood outside Grandma Eve's room, watching her chest rise and fall slowly. My mother slept in a chair beside her. Vanessa stood by the window, her arms crossed. She turned when she saw me. You're leaving, she said. Yes, I replied. To fix this, she asked. I'm trying. She studied my face, then nodded once. Come back alive. That was the first time she had ever sounded like my sister. I left before I could cry. The downtown office building was tall and cold, glass everywhere, no warmth. Marcus's men were waiting. They searched me. They took my phone. They led me into a quiet room. Marcus sat behind a desk, smiling. I knew you would choose wisely, he said. I sat down slowly. You win. He laughed. There is no winning, only control. He pushed a folder toward me. Sign this, again. I looked at the paper. My name. My signature line. My trap. I picked up the pen. My hand shook. Marcus leaned back, relaxed. Outside the window, I noticed something small. A reflection. A red light blinking once. Then twice. My heart raced. Inspector Brooks. They were here. I lowered my head and pretended to cry. "I'm tired," I said softly. "I just want this to stop." Marcus stood up and walked around the desk. He placed a hand on my shoulder. "That's better," he said. "You were never meant to be strong alone." Something inside me snapped. I stood up suddenly and turned to face him. "You're wrong," I said. His smile faded. "What did you say?" I repeated louder now, "You're wrong." At that exact moment, the door burst open. "Police, don't move." Chaos exploded. Marcus stepped back, reaching into his jacket. Vanessa's words echoed in my head. "Come back alive." I saw it then. Not a folder. Not a phone. A gun. And Marcus's eyes locked onto mine as he pulled it out. Everything moved at once. The room filled with shouting. "Drop it." On the ground. Marcus's hand came out of his jacket holding the gun. His eyes were wide, angry, and wild. For the first time since I met him, he looked scared. I stepped back slowly. "Marcus," I said, my voice shaking, "don't do this." He laughed, sharp and broken. "You did this." Police officers flooded the room. Red lights flashed through the glass walls. Guns were pointed at him from every direction. Inspector Helen Brooks stepped forward. She didn't shout. She didn't panic. "Marcus Hale," she said clearly, "it's over." Marcus tightened his grip on the gun. "You think this ends me?" he shouted. "You think taking me down changes anything?" His eyes flicked to me. "You think she's clean," he said, pointing the gun in my direction. "She signed everything." My heart jumped. Inspector Brooks didn't look at me. She kept her eyes on him. "We know exactly what she signed, and we know why." Marcus laughed again. "She's not a hero. She's a coward who hid." That hurt. But this time, I didn't shrink. I stepped forward. "Yes," I said loudly. "I hid because I was scared, because I didn't want my family hurt, but hiding made you stronger." Marcus stared at me. I continued, my voice growing steadier. "I am done being quiet." His hand shook. "Marcus," Inspector Brooks said again, "put the gun down." For a long second, nobody moved. Then Marcus turned the gun slightly toward the window. That was all the police needed. A loud bang filled the room. Marcus screamed and dropped the gun as he fell to the floor, clutching his arm. Officers rushed him, pinning him down, locking handcuffs around his wrists. It was over. Just like that. I slid down into a chair, shaking from head to toe. Inspector Brooks walked over to me. "You did well," she said. Tears streamed down my face. "Is my family safe?" "Yes," she replied. "We moved fast. The documents are secured. His network is falling apart as we speak." I closed my eyes. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. Hours later, I was back at the hospital. Grandma Eve was awake. When she saw me, she smiled. "They caught him," I whispered. She nodded slowly. I knew they would. My mother stood beside the bed, holding Grandma's hand. Her eyes were swollen from crying. She turned to me. "I was blind," she said quietly. "I only saw what made noise." I didn't answer. She stood up and hugged me tightly. "I'm sorry." That was all I needed. Vanessa stood at the door, unsure. Then she walked in. She looked at me for a long moment. "I was jealous," she said softly. "Not of your money, of your strength. You carried something heavy alone." I nodded. I shouldn't have. She hugged me too. A few days later, the story was everywhere. But this time, it wasn't just about money. It was about lies exposed, about a network shut down, about a quiet woman who chose to speak. My name was still on the Forbes list. But now it felt different. Not like a secret. Not like a trap. Grandma Eve was discharged a week later. She sat in her favorite chair again, peeling oranges slowly. She looked at me and smiled. "You see," she said, "truth does not shout, but it wins." I nodded. And that was the lesson. Do not measure yourself by applause. Do not hide your light because others shine louder. Silence can protect you for a while, but truth will protect you for life. Sometimes, the one everyone looks down on is the one holding the strongest storm inside. And when that storm finally speaks, the whole room freezes mid-laugh. People think the hardest part of a storm is when the wind is loud. They are wrong. The hardest part is the quiet that comes after. The house felt strange when Grandma Eve came back from the hospital. Everything was the same, yet nothing felt the same. The walls still stood. The chairs were still there, but the air carried something heavy, like the house was holding its breath. Grandma Eve sat in her favorite chair again, peeling oranges slowly, her hands a little weaker now. My mother watched her closely, jumping at every small cough. Vanessa spoke softly, like loud words might break something invisible. And me. I felt like I was walking inside someone else's life. The world outside did not slow down. It exploded. News vans parked near our street. Strangers took pictures. Reporters used words like mysterious, unexpected, and quiet billionaire. My name was everywhere. My face was everywhere. But nobody asked how it felt. They only asked how much. How much is she worth now? How did she hide it? What's her next move? At home, my mother tried to act normal. She cooked too much food. She cleaned rooms that were already clean. She talked about Vanessa's job again, but now her voice sounded unsure, like she was afraid to praise one daughter too loudly. Vanessa noticed. One evening, she cornered me in the kitchen. "You don't have to tiptoe," she said. "I'm not," I replied. "Yes, you are," she said. "Everyone is." I stayed quiet. She crossed her arms. "Do you know what hurts the most?" I looked at her. "Not that you're rich," she said. "It's that you were strong in silence while I needed noise." That surprised me. "I thought you liked the noise," I said. She laughed sadly. I thought so too. For the first time, I saw her clearly. Not the perfect sister, just a tired one. But peace did not last. 2 weeks later, the letter arrived. Thick, white, official. It came from the government. I stared at it for a long time before opening it. My hands felt cold. Inside were words I feared. Investigation. ASSETS under review. Required appearance. My name looked heavy on the paper. That night, I sat with Grandma Eve. "I told the truth," I said. "Why does it still feel like punishment?" She peeled an orange slowly. "Truth opens doors," she said, "but it does not choose what walks through them." I swallowed. What if they take everything? She placed an orange slice in my hand. "Then you will still have your hands." I nodded, but fear stayed. The next day, Inspector Brooks called. "You did the right thing," she said, "but the law is slow and sharp. Be careful." "Am I in trouble?" I asked. She paused. "That depends on what else we find." My stomach dropped. That evening, Vanessa found me sitting alone. "They're saying things online," she said quietly. "What things?" "That you planned everything. That you used Marcus. That Grandma's illness is fake." I felt sick. My mother walked in, holding her phone, shaking. "They say we are liars," she whispered. "They say we raised a monster." I stood up. "This is my fight." "No," Grandma Eve said firmly. "This is a family fight." That night, I received a message. Not from Marcus. From a number I did not know. It said only one sentence. "You think Marcus was the head." My heart stopped. Another message followed. "There is a ledger, and your name is not clean." I stared at the screen, my breath shallow. Then the final message appeared. "Meet me, or the truth will be rewritten." Outside, a car engine started slowly near our gate. I walked to the window and pulled the curtain back just a little. A familiar black car sat there. But this time, Marcus was not inside. And that was when I understood something far more terrifying. Marcus was gone, but the machine he built was still alive. The black car stayed outside our gate for a long time. It did not honk. It did not move. It just waited. I felt the same fear I felt the first time Marcus threatened me, but this time, something was different. This time, I was not alone. I walked back into the living room. My mother, Vanessa, and Grandma Eve were all there, watching my face. "There is someone else," I said. "Someone behind Marcus." Grandma Eve nodded slowly. "I knew." My mother's voice shook. "How many enemies does one child need?" Vanessa stood up. "What do they want?" I showed them the messages. The room went quiet again. Grandma Eve broke the silence. "You will not go alone." "I have to," I said. "If I don't, they will twist the truth." Vanessa shook her head. "You are not walking into another trap." Inspector Brooks arrived less than an hour later with 2 officers. She read the messages and sighed. "We suspected this," she said. "Marcus was not the head, he was a shield." My stomach dropped. "So this never ends." "It ends," she said firmly, "but not without courage." They traced the number. They found the location. An old warehouse by the river. Inspector Brooks looked at me. "We can move in, but we need confirmation, a face, a voice." "You want me there?" I said. "Yes," she replied, "only long enough to expose them." My mother cried. Vanessa held her. Grandma Eve looked at me with tired but steady eyes. "Go," she said, "but come back." The warehouse smelled like dust and oil. The lights were dim. A man stood in the shadows. Older than Marcus. Calmer. Smarter. "So," he said, stepping forward, "you're the quiet billionaire." "Who are you?" I asked. He smiled. "The one who fixes messes Marcus creates." "You ruin lives," I said. He shrugged. "Money moves, people fall." "I told the truth," I said, "and I will again." He laughed softly. "Truth is easy to bend." I raised my phone slightly. He noticed too late. Hidden cameras, live audio, everything recorded. "I'm done hiding," I said. His smile vanished. Sirens filled the night. Police rushed in from every direction. The man tried to run. He didn't make it 3 steps. As they dragged him away, he looked at me and said, "You think this makes you clean?" I met his eyes. "No, but it makes me free." The world calmed down slowly after that. Not all at once, but enough. The investigations continued. Some money was frozen. Some names disappeared. Some stories were corrected. I was not praised. I was questioned. And that was fair. In the end, the law decided I was not innocent, but I was honest. I paid fines. I gave up part of the fortune. And I slept peacefully for the first time in years. Vanessa stayed at her job. But she stopped chasing applause. My mother stopped comparing. She started listening. Grandma Eve lived long enough to see the house become quiet again. One evening, she held my hand and said, "You learned the hardest lesson." "What lesson?" I asked. She smiled. "That being good is louder than being praised." When she passed, she went peacefully. No fear. No regrets. As for me, my name stayed on lists. But I stopped caring. I built schools quietly. I helped people quietly. And I lived honestly. Because the real lesson was simple. The world may clap for noise, but life rewards truth. And sometimes, the one everyone looks down on is the one strong enough to stop the machine.